Yeah, we back, y'all. This your man, Big Tiger Man, Big Play Killer, TPZ. Hey, whatever you want to call me, man, just don't call me Collect. So look, we back, and look, these Jackson boy, y'all don't stop, y'all don't stop. Dude, talk about oh, oh, you reporting on Jackson now? Colorado don't got nothing going on. Colorado always got something going on. And Dion gonna make sure we see it. And that's the main reason why I've been reporting on Colorado the most, because they give us something to talk about. So, but tonight, I'm gonna share the stage. And I've been kind of doing this all throughout the year. I see you ain't been watching. You ain't been watching, Jackson. I support y'all even though y'all don't support me. See what I'm talking about? See what I'm talking about? But all right, so we're gonna talk about two things. The state of Colorado right now, what's about to happen? It's about to be some kind of backlash. Can Dion handle this backlash that's about to happen? And we're gonna talk about Jackson State new quarterback is putting up Shador type numbers. And history was made. We got a Jackson State made history this weekend. So let's get into it, man. Y'all hit the like button. Y'all be respectful. Wipe your feet. Hit the like button when you come in. And subscribe if you're not subscribed. I'm trying to hit 10,000 subscribers this year. I've been rolling this last month. I done jumped up almost like 1,000. So let's go, y'all. Let's get it. First thing, we'll do the Jackson news because Jackson is hot right now. And I'm gonna give Coach Taylor his props. I like the transition Coach Taylor did with the new quarterback. I'm gonna say Jay Morgan. All right. Morgan, it was a battle for quarterbacks that who's going to be the starter. Morgan transferred in late. He came from Syracuse. Morgan started for Syracuse as a freshman. He started, I know, one game, I know for sure. But since then, he hasn't been getting the same playing time. So he's a Mississippi native. He came back home to play for Jackson State. I love that. I love that. I like Coach Taylor's plan to try to keep as many guys in state, and build a pipeline in your own state. I know that seems like that should just be easy peasy, but when you are HBCU, that's a little harder than what you think. But Coach Taylor, he's starting to pull it off. So for y'all that don't know, Morgan went 26 for 36 for 373 yards, 5 touchdowns. Now, these are some impressive numbers with 1 interception. And the most impressive number to me is I think he only got like 12 yards rushing on the day. He, at first glimpse, you thought he was like a dual quarterback where he's going to be like a power Cam Newton kind of run the ball quarterback and throw, but like a 50-50 guy. But he showed he could stay in the pocket and beat you from the pocket. I noticed in some of his like warm-ups and stuff, his technique was good. I'm looking at his release point with the ball, his elbow. I'm looking at his footwork, how his toes are pointed towards his target. He's doing a lot of things right. So I was just like, okay, maybe I was the first game jitters. I want to see the next game. I made a video about that talking about I want to see him throw the cover off the ball. Last game he did that. He did just that. But I'm going to tell you what the other thing that Coach Taylor is doing that I like. He waited until he let Brown play as many games as he could. When he lost homecoming game, he said, okay, I gave you all I could give you. You dropped the ball. I'm going with the next man up. The next man that proved himself he could be the starter has came in on 2 games that are not strong opponents, but you still get a look. It's still games you could lose. They were like, one was a rivalry game, and now we got another opponent that's kind of, they have a bad record, but it's kind of like a rivalry game because this Arkansas is right next to Mississippi. So it's still a kind of semi-rivalry game. If they win this game, they get bragging rights. So Morgan was able to pull out the win. Now Jackson is hitting another high. And this is good for the program. This is very good for the program. Because you remember, Coach Taylor had to replace pretty much his whole team. The same thing Coach Prime is doing in Colorado, Coach Taylor almost had to do the same thing in Jackson. And as of right now, Coach Taylor has the better record. The other thing Coach Taylor did that was brave, like when Jackson came to when Coach Prime came to Jackson, he kind of made the team very diverse. He was kids from all kind of backgrounds. It wasn't just African American kids. He had white kids, Hispanic kids, all kind of kids. He was trying to bring kids from London, everything to the squad. So he was already like boom, 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 trying to expand it and just make it different, not the same norm, right? Coach Taylor, he has a female kicker. She made history for being the first female kicker in the HBCU ranks, and she actually scored a point. She's like the first one to score a point. I don't know if it's been other kickers, but I know she's the first one to actually score a point in the game. So that's great. I wish I knew the young lady's name. I don't got it off the top of my head, but I saw her actually make the kick, and Coach Taylor picked her up. One of the linemen picked her up in the air like this. That was cool, and Coach Taylor embraced her and everything. So that's pretty cool. I had some people to kind of get mad about that. Look, the Alabama didn't want to integrate and have black players in their school. Now they was like one of the last Power 5 or big schools, whatever, blah blah blah, the predominantly white schools to bring in African Americans. Now, if you look at Alabama roster for the last 20 years, that's almost all you see. And they knew, okay, if we don't make a change, we're gonna get left behind. So I like the fact that Coach Taylor is moving forward. He's not looking backwards. He's been a trailblazer. I like a lot of things he's doing right now with the program. So I was one of the first people to make a video saying Coach Taylor should be the next coach for Jackson State. So I'm rooting for Coach Taylor. The only thing I want Jackson and SWAC and FAMU to do right now is push their game back. I want to push their game back to the end of the season. So at the end of the year, we already know Jackson and FAMU got the best rosters, so they're going to have the best game. All right, so let's get to the Colorado news. Colorado. I've been looking at the list, y'all. I've been looking at the numbers, and they say numbers don't lie, right? So, and the reason why I want to talk about Jackson State and all these different teams, because FAMU is the number one team in the SWAC. FAMU is 7-1. FAMU, they throw the ball a lot too. They throw the ball a lot. FAMU, it's only 3 teams on this list that's I think negatives in this category that's ranked high. And this is what I'm talking about. Categories of how many times you throw the ball compared to how many times you run the ball. Now, Colorado, man, it's not looking good, Colorado. Colorado they have thrown the ball 348 times. They ran the ball 251 times. But 86 of those runs, so I don't know if these are sacks or these are actually runs by Shador. Oh, and how do y'all like my hat? Y'all like my hat, my little Undertaker hat? I had to pick it up today. I like it. It's leather. I think it's one of these hats I can wear out in the rain and get it wet and it'll stick with me for a while. Y'all let me know what y'all think about the hat. I got cows and stuff, so I got to be out there doing some of that stuff. But, okay, so out of the 251 runs, it was 86 with Shador, like, runs, right? Rushes. So I subtracted those from the total. And so now you got 100 and I think it's 191 runs compared to like 348 passes. So that came up to it's the imbalance of pass to run. They've thrown the ball 157 more times than they ran the ball. That's the highest on this list. The second highest is which one is it? Is Washington. Washington has thrown the ball 130 times more. Washington is the number 5 ranked team in the country, right? Washington quarterback has only ran the ball like 12 times. So Washington is throwing the ball a lot, but they're doing it at a high level and their quarterback is not getting sacked that much, right? Now, all the other teams on this list is pretty much balanced, except for when you get to the SEC. The SEC, like Alabama is plus 132, plus 132 runs. Alabama is running the ball. I even looked at Ole Miss, because Lane Kiffin, he's an offensive coordinator. He like to throw the ball. Lane Kiffin is plus 91 when it comes to running the ball, right? These SEC schools. Now, I was surprised with Georgia. I thought Georgia was going to be run heavy, because I know they've been run heavy. They got a lot of great backs. But Georgia is actually up passing 24. They up passing. So they still balance on the year. It's like for the year, it's 290 passes and 276 rushes. So, like, look, y'all, while I'm telling y'all this, these teams I'm naming now, these are like the top teams. Like the top HBCU team is North Carolina Central. North Carolina Central has thrown the ball 236 times. They ran the ball 273 times. They plus in running 37 plus runs, right? So most of these teams, and their record is, I think they're 7-1. I want to say they're 7-1. So all these teams is doing most of the winning, except for Washington is running the ball either more or they're balanced. Colorado is unbalanced when it comes to pass. They passing the ball. They putting the ball in Shedeur hands almost every play. Why is this important? People say the offensive line got a block. Now, I'm going to tell you something. Georgia had an issue with their wide receivers maybe like 3-4 years ago. When wide receivers, they were saying they didn't want to block. They was transferring out. They didn't want to block on the curve. They didn't want to block for the running backs. And I'm noticing that with Colorado. When Colorado runs those little short passes, their receivers don't really block that great. Their receivers are not great blockers. I'm looking at the running game, with a passing game. The running backs are not really, I haven't seen like any one-on-one blocks where I was like, ooh, that was a great block by that running back. So the running backs are not really blocking. We already know the offensive line ain't blocking. And I don't know if y'all saw this play earlier in the year when Myles Garrett was moving from side to side, and every time he moved from one side to the other side, the two tight ends would follow him, right? And he kept doing it until they got a delay of game penalty. The reason why I'm telling y'all this is the Cleveland coaching staff identified, well, the team that Cleveland was playing against, their coaching staff identified, like, okay, our offensive line cannot block this guy. So we're going to put two tight ends on him to help chip block him. Like, we're going to make sure we double and triple team this guy so we can minimize how effective he is getting to the passer. Last week was a prime example. We had a great pass rusher. This guy could be a first-round pick. He had 3 sacks, I think, in the first half. They didn't bring a tight end to block him. If you know your players are not great and they're going against a player that's borderline great, first-round grade, you need to help him out. And how you help out an offensive line is you let the offensive line beat up on the defensive line. He's a great pass rusher, but he weighs 200-something pounds. That offensive lineman that's blocking him weighs 300-something pounds. When you run the ball, the offensive line gets to pound him. They get to pound. They get to lean on him and put pressure on him. And I looked at this. Our running backs right now are averaging, I think Dillon's averaging 4.5 yards a carry. Henderson is averaging 4.2 yards a carry. I want to say Savion is averaging 3.2 yards a carry. And McCaskill is averaging 4.2 yards a carry. So that's not bad, but that's not great. All right? That's kind of balanced for most normal teams. But this is the only thing. These guys are not getting the ball enough so the offense line can start winning on the defense line and so they can get in a rhythm. So the more we pass the ball, when you pass the ball, the offensive linemen, they are doing a lot of catching. They are catch blocking. So when you catch block, it's like you trying to protect somebody else. You're not able to really wind up and punch back. You always catching. So you on the defense instead of on the offense. When you running the ball down their throat, now offensive line, he's on the offense. He get to take licks. He get to inflict pain. So I think with all the people saying that offensive line can't block, it's starting to affect these guys. The people seeing how much money Shedeur is making. I think that might be starting to affect some guys, especially if they ain't getting nothing. And I think some of these guys are starting to look at the stats. And the stats are saying like Shedeur is good, but also Shedeur is getting so many more chances. Think about it. They've thrown the ball 348 times. So I don't know when he's sacked. They say he rushed the ball 86 times. I don't know if they counting sacks and rushes. Passing plays and sacks together, and that's combined. But if they're not combined, that means Shedeur has had the ball like over 400 times. Like he's running away with it compared to everybody else. And if you compare him to the top passers in the league, his stats, they look similar, but they're not. If you look at how many times he had to pass the ball, he's having maybe like 50 more times. I think I compared the Washington quarterback and him. I think he threw the ball like 50 more times than the guy from Washington. So it's like he's had the ball in his hand so many more times. You're gonna have more stats if you had a ball that many times in your hand. And you can see it starting to affect his body. He's starting to get hurt. He's still trying to play through the pain for his dad. But you can kind of tell. Last week was a bad week. Shedeur got hurt, and Shallow got ejected. I feel like how Shallow got ejected, it was some BS. I feel like that's football right there. He didn't hit him with his helmet. He hit him with his pads. And the guy he was on his third step. He had turned to make a football move. I thought that was BS. The showboating that Shallow was doing after the fact, I loved it. It's exciting for the game, all that kind of stuff. You got the Shedeur and you got the Shallow. I love it. I love it. I can't hold it. But I feel like a lot of people are just mad at Colorado right now, and I can kind of tell the wind left out of a lot of people their last game before the bye. A lot of people kind of like, man, they getting off the Colorado boat, right? Like they starting not to believe, right? And last week I seen it in players. The players, I seen a lot of their faces. That was my first time seeing faces like that when they didn't believe they could win the game. I saw it last week. I saw when Shedeur was getting sacked back to back to back. The only two people that I saw still wanting to win was Savion and let me not do that. Henderson was running good too. But Savion and McCaskill and Henderson still had some fight. Dillon still had some fight too. So what I'm saying, y'all, this is what I'm saying. And I took a picture of this. I don't know if my mind was playing tricks on me or what, but I saw a drive last night when who is it? UCLA had the ball. They had the ball with like a minute, like 2 minutes or something to go before halftime. And then they had the ball again with like a minute and 30 seconds before halftime. So I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. How did Colorado only run like 40 seconds off the clock? They just had the ball They had the ball, but they throwing the ball. But I was like, well, maybe I'm seeing something. Maybe it was a penalty on the kick or something. They got the ball back, but it was weird. They had the ball with 2-something. I'm talking about UCLA. UCLA had the ball with like 2 minutes left on the clock before halftime, and then I know they was in punt formation, and then I saw them again with the ball before halftime. I'm like, damn, did they go 3 and out that fast? 3 incompletions? Like, it was confusing to me. But the reason why I'm bringing that up is they're leaving their defense on the field too long. And if you notice, the second half of the last 2 games, the other team is scoring the most points in the second half. The defense battled in the game for the bye. It was a shutout. This last game, the defense battled. They was getting turnovers, fumbles, battling. But every time they would give it back to the offense, besides them first few drives and that last drive, they could not stay on the field. So I think the offense is starting to take the wind out of the defense because you're being so one-dimensional. And if Colorado don't change this, it's going to get worse. Like, everybody want Colorado to win so bad right now, and even though they're playing against teams that they supposed to lose to, you started off on fire. You started off winning. But if you notice, the running backs got their touchdowns at the beginning of the year. The jet sweeps. I think Jimmy Horn is averaging like, what is he averaging? Like 9 yards a carry. And Weaver's averaging 7.5 yards a carry. But they only ran that play 4 times the whole season. So that's not even 1 time a game. So we got to do something with this running game. That's my message to Colorado. You have to run the ball for 2 reasons. It keeps the defense off the field, runs the clock, and it stops Shedeur from getting hurt and beat up as much. Third reason is you got more running backs than you got quarterbacks in the game. So let these running backs share these bruises and bumps and not put it all on Shedeur. His body is breaking down. I told y'all this. I think it was the UCLA, not UCLA, the USC game. I made a video. If y'all scroll down my videos, y'all see it. I think it's one of the shorts I did. And Shedeur's on the ground with his head on the ground. And I'm like, he ain't going to make it through the season. Not at this rate. He's not going to make it through the season. So Colorado has to run the ball. You have to use all 4 of your running backs. I'm not saying you have to sit Dillon down. No, you have to use all 4 of your running backs and pound the ball and become a force. You got the horses to do it. And then let Shedeur be able to do play action. And now it's going to make it so much easier for him. Once we set up play action, it's that much easier for Shedeur. But that's my time, y'all. I'm going to talk about film some more next week in North Carolina Central because that's looking like that's going to be the clash. But that's what I got, y'all. Appreciate you for watching.